Welcome to KC's X-Files. Tonight we dive into one of the most terrifying legends of the modern era, the Mothman. Winged, glowing-eyed, and reported across small towns in the dead of night. This creature has haunted eyewitnesses for decades. But Mothman is more than a legend. Is it a warning, a harbinger, or something else entirely? The files are open.
The first Mothman sightings were recorded in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, during the 1960s. Witnesses describe a towering figure with enormous wings and eyes that glowed red in the dark. Locals spoke of an unshakable sense of dread, mysterious fires, and even strange prophetic visions. Scientists dismiss it, skeptics laugh, but the consistency of eyewitness accounts cannot be ignored. Could it be an undiscovered species, an interdimensional being, or a warning from something beyond our understanding? Mothman has left his mark on folklore, pop culture, and unexplained phenomena across the country. And KC's X-Files is uncovering everything they don't want you to know.
Young couples up near the North Power Plant in the TNT area. That was a vacated, desolate area at one time during World War II. That was a ammunitions factory. That's how it got its name, the TNT area. They were driving around up there about 11 o'clock at night. They came across what they thought was a man standing in the road in front of their car.
They noticed something standing next to the plant, which looked like a very large man in dark clothing or a cloak and what have you, and they noticed these two glaring red eyes.
Linda Scarberry was one of the witnesses, said that they were about size of baseballs, about 2 inches apart, and then she noticed wings flapped around on its back, and she said they reminded her of angel's wings. As the car got closer, she said the wings came out, and this creature or being or whatever ran into one of the vacant power plant buildings there called the North Power Plant.
And kind of spooked the ladies, and they picked up speed, and they noticed as they looked behind them that this thing was actually chasing them.
That's when this thing came over top of their car. They were doing 90, 95 miles an hour in this car coming back to town, and intermittently this thing would come over the car, then disappear, come over the car, and it chased them back into the city limits, and then it disappeared.
And they were thoroughly terrified, but they got home and told their story. And during this time that started the ball rolling on the whole Mothman legend, as it is, one of America's creepiest urban legends.
Immediately after the two couples saw this thing in the TNT area, they went to the sheriff's department. Now, the sheriff's deputies saw how upset they were. They knew that they weren't making this story up. They sat down and wrote down everything that they encountered. And then the police went up there to investigate. They started running regular patrols. This was on the 15th of November. On the 16th of November, Marcella Bennett and her family actually encountered this thing at a house up in the TNT area.
Marcella's corroborating evidence makes the community take notice, including her family.
I asked my sister what it looked like one day. I said, Marcella, I need to ask you, what does it really look like? Because I was there time after time, but never really got to experience it. And she said, you know what, Carolyn? She said, we were just getting out of the car. We were talking back and forwards over top of the car, not paying a lot of attention, not thinking about anything. And I heard something like, shh, shh, shh. And she said, we turned around and looked, and it was trying to come through the doors, which they drove trucks and tanks and stuff through them doors, and said that the doors wasn't big enough. And I said, well, then how did he get out? And she said he went sideways and came through and flew over top of him. She said, when I looked up and seen them big red eyes, she said, we were out of there. I can't tell you what the rest of it looked like.
You can go right down the line through November. There was all kinds of sightings after that. Then the police department started taking it a little more serious.
The official record of so many sightings marks a turning point. The residents of Point Pleasant start taking the reports seriously. Many believe something is living near the abandoned munitions plant, something beyond curious, a creature that might actually harm them, and it has a name.
The name Mothman was actually given by a news reporter during some of those press conferences in the early days of the Mothman sightings. People always ask, well, how did the name Mothman come about? At the time, in the mid-60s, as a little kid, I used to watch the Batman TV series, but there was also the Batman comic book series. There was a character in that comic book series called Mothman. And because people were describing moth-like wings and red eyes, that name Mothman stuck. Now, a lot of local people still to this day refer to it as the Big Bird.
Whenever the Mothman was first spotted, it practically covered all of our news areas. It was in the newspaper, big write-ups, and it was on the radio, TV, word of mouth. Everybody was talking about it. I mean, it was different. It was a piece of something that they had never experienced before. You kept your kids in at night, your little ones. You didn't let them out.
The newspaper account came out of a big, large 6-foot bird with a large wingspan and red eyes were chasing cars in the TNT area.
Point Pleasant wasn't the end. Similar winged entities with glowing eyes have been reported across the world before earthquakes, collapses, and large-scale tragedies. Different countries, different cultures, same creature, coincidence, or pattern. Some believe Mothman is an interdimensional being, briefly crossing into our reality. Others believe it's a biological entity we don't yet understand. And some believe Mothman is neither monster nor myth, but a messenger. A warning system humanity ignores at its own risk.
We call a coping mechanism. If you're not careful, it can become an addiction.
Use loaded phrases like hissy fit or see you later, alligator.
We were definitely coping in there.
Groping mechanisms. You dork.
Look, if you don't rejoin the group, I'm gonna... One second.
Class dismissed.
Yeah. Do you validate Parker?
Hey, buzz off, dipshit. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Inhuman Resources. I'm Mr. Mothman. I'm a Mothman. Let's talk about reptoids. Be sure to follow these do's and don'ts to avoid a diplomatic incident.
If Mothman isn't real, why do sightings always come before disaster? Why do the reports stop once the warning is complete? And why were the files quietly buried? This wasn't folklore, it was a signal. Some files are sealed to protect the public. Others are sealed because the truth is too unsettling. This was the Mothman file, and it won't be the last. Subscribe to KC's X-Files, because the truth doesn't disappear, it gets buried.